Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Story number 1. Personality Matrix, written by Random 3X. Human Victor, which personality matrix will you be installing in this upcoming interaction? Nixos's vocalator asked as he entered his office. Pardon? Victor responded with a tilt of his head, looking the sentient machine up and down in confusion. This unit has observed you run a multiple of personality matrices when interacting with other sentients, Nixos explained. Sorry, still no clue what you're on about. Can you clarify a bit more? Maybe an example of what you mean might help me understand, Victor suggested. Very well, Nixos gave a stiff nod in his attempt to mimic the human affirmative gesture. Does human Victor recall when we interacted with the Vakini? Nixos asked. To which Victor nodded. They were, as human Lucy stated, boisterous. Yet human Victor was able to interact effectively with them as if he were born of their species. Well, yeah, gotta be one of the lads and all, Victor said with a playful shrug. But when we interacted with the Judungar, the human Victor displayed multiple instances of personality matrix that was markedly different than the Vakini, Nixos explained. I think I get it now. Victor nodded, stroking his stubbled chin. What you have observed is something near every human can do, Victor began. Please elaborate, human Victor, Nixos said, his multiple photoreceptors starting to shine, indicating that he was recording. Well, you are aware that humans are social species, right? Victor asked. Indeed. This unit has been observed many times with the fluffles, kitties, and puppers, as you refer to the numerous diminutive third species that we have encountered. Nixos nodded, recording humanity's tendency for physical contact with what they deemed cute creatures. They were adorable, Victor said bashfully, rubbing the back of his head. But anyway, part of our social ability is to adapt to our surroundings. Lots of mirror neurons and the like, Victor said, giving a shrug, indicating that he was unsure of the exact science reasons behind it. So we as a species are good at changing our behavior to match our surroundings. Say I'm surrounded by loud and proud aliens that love a drink and a song. Well, I can match 'em. Then we meet well-to-do and ritualistic species. Well, I can match 'em as well, Victor explained. And all humans are capable of this ability? Nixos asked, curious. Well, not all humans, but I'd say a fair lot of us can. Take Lucy, for example. She used to work in the service industry. That requires a lot of polite and controlled interactions with customers. He paused to make sure Nixos was following. Well, she had what she called a work Lucy, for lack of better analogy. As you would say, she installed a work Lucy personality matrix. Then when she finished, she could relax and return to her default settings, Victor explained. See what I mean? It isn't our personalities that are changed, but our behaviors that are altered to match our environment and situation, Victor finished, glancing at Nixos, whose photoreceptors light began to fade. This has been a fascinating discussion, human Victor, Nixos said as he rose. Can't be that fascinating, really, Victor said with a shrug. On the contrary, human Victor, my entire line was created to aid with diplomacy of other races due to their inability to adapt to other species. They maintain their personalities and behavior throughout their every interaction regardless of the species that they were interacting with. Humans are the first species that I've aided that have adapted themselves much the same as we do. If anything, human Victor, I am confused with the lack of work that I am left to do. Nixos finished before leaving Victor alone in his office. End of story. Story number 2. Galactic Pets, written by Poe Tattoo. Humans have always been obsessed with keeping non-sapient animals as their pets, even when they joined the galactic stage. They brought along their pet dogs, cats, and even snakes. No species before them has ever kept any non-sapient animal for no real purpose. They seem to always be taking care of these pets for no visible benefit. A short interview with a human. So why did you get a dog? I don't know. It was cute. So you used your own credits to take care of a non-sapient species because it was cute. Does it do anything special? Yep, it was cute. That's it. Not much special. Many people were bewildered by this behavior, going so far as to call it a waste of credits to take care of these pets. Yet the story of pets didn't end there. Before joining the galactic stage, there were some humans who took care of seemingly dangerous animals for the fun of it. These pets could tear them apart quickly or even inject lethal toxins into them. Danger noodles, they were called. Nonetheless, they took care of them because it was fun. This concerned some species when they joined the galactic stage, and rightfully so. As humans integrated into a new society, it became apparently clear that they would take the next to any animal as a pet. Anarchists are a non-sapient Class 4 danger species, capable of wiping out whole villages in the early days of the Karvak civilization, killing thousands standing at around 5 standard meters tall and 5 standard meters long. They were clearly not a species to mess around with, let alone keep as a pet. Humans just didn't seem to care, and one even kidnapped an Anarcha from a lab. It was found 4 years later, loosely restrained in the human's habitat. When interrogated, he simply said, "It's cute, like a small fluffy T-Rex." Upon request to return to the Anarcha, the human declined, opting instead to request a fine. As the original lab no longer required the sample, and there was simply no law in place preventing citizens from keeping dangerous species as pets, it was surprisingly approved for 25,000 galactic credits. Bizarrely, the human even seemed to treat it as simply as buying price for a pet. End of story. Story number 3. Don't Wear Fancy Hats, written by Agro. Don't Wear Fancy Hats. Audio log, Cycle 52, 83rd stellar rotation of His Holiness Glaberath Spinlagrap the 92nd, Commander Alpa of the 7th Fang. It has been 10 local cycles since our invasion of the human colony world, New Hampshire. Despite securing orbital superiority early on, the ground campaign has been a complete disgrace before the Holy Ancestors. I am currently in transit to a different command base in order to take over the regiment that has lost all of its commanding officers to those infernal snipers that the humans put so many resources into. At this point, my prediction is that at least 80% of the human army stationed here, named militia by captured locals, are trained exclusively at long-distance warfare, as I have seen no thrill nor tale of any soldier engaging combat at more honorable distances. What irks me most about the ongoing military catastrophe is that this will be my second such redeployment since we landed on this accursed rock. Even the most optimistic estimates put officer casualties at over 40%. And the less said about the generals, the better. Though at this point, I think everyone can agree that traveling around an occupied and still active war zone in an open plinth carried by slaves was a bad idea, no matter how stylish it might be. In the first few cycles in the invasion, there was a lot of confusion and panic as Command tried to figure out how the humans could so accurately target the commanding officers. Then one of the slave soldiers pointed out that all officers, nobles, and priests had their heraldry and rank tattooed on their cranial crests, making them highly visible to snipers. After executing the slave for insubordination, it was agreed on that the crests were the most likely cause of the casualties. Upon hearing of this, in a stroke of tactical genius, I immediately covered my own crest in mud to prevent the vile humans from identifying my rank. In my own valuable opinion, it'll be a major boon for the army as a whole to have me continue to be promoted higher into the command structure. My superior intellect, tactical insight, and handsome looks will no doubt be innumerable benefits for the morale and effectiveness of the invasion fleet as a whole, and even onwards of future battlefield. End of audio log. Kill confirmed, Cotharian officer down. Roger that. How many is that now, Stephen? 27. They are getting smarter, though. This one had a bunch of mud on his head frill thingy. Well, crap. How did you know that he was an officer, then? I mean, it's not that great of a disguise if you're the only one with mud on your head, and there are no other visible officers in the whole formation. Good enough for me. How long do you reckon till the UNSF gets their collective shit together, enough to send us some Marines or something? Probably only a few more days, honestly, though. If these guys are having this much trouble dealing with a bunch of farmers armed with hunting rifles, they won't know what the fuck hit them when the real military shows up. End of story. I would just quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and patrons: Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Barkey, It's Difficult to Pronounce, Lord Azrakul, and Arcadian.